going on, MoCo Monster Hunters? Today we're going to be doing a tier list of every new weapon, gadget, passive, and elite module coming to the game inside of Chapter 2. We're also going to be showing in-game clips of every single weapon, gadget, passive, everything coming inside of Chapter 2. So let's get straight into it, starting with the weapons. Up first, we have the Poison Bow. Main attack shoots arrows that damage single enemies at long range, but the combo attack, every 5th attack, shoot a volley of 3 poison arrows that explode in a small area, dealing damage over time, slowing non-boss enemies. So as you can see from this clip here, we are going to see the single target damage, but once we get that combo attack filled up, it is going to shoot the barrage of poison arrows, and look at how long the poison lasts. Like, this thing is going to wreak havoc. And dude, and honestly, it deals a ton of damage. Like, are you seeing the DPS? And then we also see it here against a group of units. As you can see, once we fill up the combo attack and we get the poison attack, it lingers, the DPS goes crazy. I think this bow is going to slap. So starting the video off with a banger, I think I'm going to put the poison bow in the S tier. I mean, it's got the single target, high DPS, it's got the crowd control and slows with the poison. It attacks super quickly. I think this bow is going to be meta. I'm calling it now. Our next weapon is the horn bow, previously known as the shot bow that we've seen in the game. So the main attack shoots 3 bolts that deal damage at medium range. Combo attack, every 3rd attack, is a mega shot that shoots 5 piercing bolts in a wider area, dealing even more damage. And taking a look at the in-game clip here, we can obviously approaching the multi-group of enemies here. This thing is going to deal an absurd amount of damage. We see every 3rd attack, we see that big combo attack, the mega damage. So again, with groups of enemies, this thing is going to slap. We can see decent damage against the single target here, but once we come over to a group of enemies, bang, that thing gets into the 2000s, I believe, damage per second. Yeah, it does. That thing is insane. So in rifts, dojos, open world farming, if this thing is against groups, I think it's going to slap. But overall, I feel like it's missing a few things like crowd control, and because it's medium range and not long range, there are definitely situations that might come up where you're gonna get overpowered. So I think this is most likely going to be a high A tier weapon. That's where I'm going to rank it, at least for right now. I'm curious to see what the meta is once Chapter 2 gets here. And moving on to our last new weapon, we do have the Singularity. So main attack, swing your claw to deal area damage in front of you at close range. Combo attack, every 6th attack deals damage to enemies around you and removes 1.5 seconds from all gadgets that are in cooldown. Alright, so hopping into the gameplay of the Singularity, you can see it has moderate attack speed. It's getting the combo bar off rather slowly, in my opinion, but I think that's good. It can't be too OP, but there's the ability, removing the time off the gadgets, and it deals okay damage. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's going to be okay, but similar to how the portal is not used for its weapon, it's used for its gadget ability in that far right slot. I think the Singularity will be very similar. You're not going to use it for its damage, although in groups, as you can see, the DPS is kind of insane. So if you can pack that survivability, maybe you have a heal in there, like as you can see, he does have the splash heal, and you're going to be able to get that off more frequently. I think maybe there is going to be something to this build. I am just going to be worried about the survivability and how important it is, the 1.5 seconds, and how often you're going to be able to get that combo off. But I think if it is balanced, this weapon could be okay. And although the gadget cooldown reduction does inherently seem broken, we have seen in the meta that melee weapons and close range weapons just are outshined time and time again by these ranged weapons. So I think the gadget cooldown will be used frequently, but I'm going to put it in low A tier for now, because I'm gonna have to see if the meta is, or if the strength of the weapon is offset by its gadget cooldown reduction. We'll have to see on that. I know we're barely into this video and we have an S tier and 2 A tiers, but genuinely, I think from the looks of it, all 3 weapons seem incredibly strong. But moving right along to the gadgets, first up, we have the Feel Better Bloom, used to summon a totem that continually heals you and all allies in its radius. All right, so hopping into the gameplay of the gadget here, we are gonna take a little bit of damage. pop the ability, the health immediately starts to go down, but it does get, I believe, 10 ticks of HP healing for the full duration, leaving the gadget with 10 seconds cooldown before you can use it again. Honestly, it seems okay. So for the actual ranking of this, I'm going to start the gadgets off with the C tier. Pretty unfortunate, but the Feel Good Bloom has one crucial drawback. It is stationary. All of the other heal gadgets you can use either for yourself or your teammates while you're dashing, while you're running, but you have to stay inside of the circle, and I feel like it might lead to some situations that you won't get enough value out of it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there are just going to be better heal options. It might get some use case in some specific rifts with your teammates, but overall I would assume that this isn't going to get as much value. Next up for our gadgets, we have the PEW 3000 or the Pew Turret. Construct a pet turret that shoots a single enemy from a long range. Alright, so hopping into the gameplay of the Pew Turret, as you can see, you spawn, it's going to do the single target damage, but it attacks quickly and it does last for 15 seconds. As you can see, it's going to despawn. There's going to be 15 seconds left on the gadget cooldown, so if you use that in combination with rings or the new Singularity, you can reduce that even further. I think the Pew Turret is going to be pretty powerful, especially with the fact that it is pet damage. It is a pet turret, so you can increase the speed and damage with those rings like we were talking about earlier. So I am super stoked to see how this pairs in the meta. And as far as the ranking goes, I think I am going to chuck this in the low A tier, especially because of the amount of pet builds we have in our current meta. The pet build with the Buzzkill is without a doubt one of the best, might be the best build inside of the game for raw DPS. So imagine chucking the Pew Turret in, getting that increased fire rate, getting that increased DPS, along with your bees, Sheldons, chickens, and all that. So just increasing that DPS. I don't know necessarily that it's going to be S tier because, again, it decreases your mobility having to stay in the range of that turret, but I think it is going to be really strong. And last but not least for our gadgets, we have the very mean Pendant, used to deal area damage around you over time and heal yourself for the same amount. Damage is split evenly among surrounding enemies. Alright, so hopping straight into the gameplay, as you can see, popping the gadget against a single target enemy, it's going to take all of the hits from that, deal a fair bit of damage, I believe roughly 3,000, but you can see when we pop it here against all these units, it's going to diversify that damage against the 4 enemies there, dealing less damage but still an equal amount total. And as you can see, we are going to take a little bit of our HP off to see how much it restores, deal that damage over time to the enemies, but also gain that back. So like I said, we're about 3,000 or 13,000, excuse me, back to 16,000 HP. So as you can see, best against those single HP units, but you are still going to get value out of it in other areas, which makes me want to rank it high B or low A. I think low A might be too strong, but I'm curious to see where this ends up in the meta. The reason why I want to put it low A is because of how short its cooldown reduction, or its cooldown, is on its actual use time, especially again if you pair that with the Singularity or rings or anything to reduce that further. I think you could realistically be continually popping this ability, dealing damage and healing yourself. So for a tank build, this might actually come in super clutch. Moving right along to our new passive, starting off we have the Cactus Charm. Every time you get hit, deal revenge damage back. Hopping into the actual gameplay here, you're going to see it in action as these drogs go up to attack our character here. Just one single weapon or ability from them, it's going to deal enough damage. Now I would imagine, I don't know, I can't confirm this for sure, I would imagine we've hopped into the first world here, and their HP just isn't enough, so I would assume it's a fixed damage, because as you can see, the drogs are barely dealing enough damage to hurt our character's HP down below. Like, they're dealing what, 50 damage to us or something like that, maybe not even that, and we're dealing 500 damage back to them. So I imagine it is a fixed value and we are just one-shotting them because we're in an earlier world. But either way, consistent damage being dealt back to the attacker is absolutely solid, and again, I think this is going to be a must on tank builds. But as far as placing it in our tier list, I think I am going to have to place that B tier, middle of the pack, for that reason I mentioned earlier of it having a fixed damage output value, and it does seem like it's a pretty high value. We're one-shotting those drogs in the earlier world, but I hope it doesn't fall off too quickly as we progress through the worlds. And I can imagine you're running that passive in your build, and you're entering into those later worlds, and the mobs are attacking you, and your damage output back as that revenge damage is just barely hurting them at all. I can imagine that being a problem. We're going to have to see, but if it scales with monster HP, that's obviously going to move this up to A, maybe even S tier, but we're going to have to see what that damage output looks like into those further worlds. Next gadget on our list is the Gadget Battery. Every time you use a gadget, zap the closest enemy for a shocking amount of damage. All right, hopping straight into the gameplay here. For every gadget we press, as you can see, a massive 1000 damage spike being dealt to our target here, and whether that's a damage dealing gadget or not, it does not matter. If we use our gadget, as you can see going over the multi-targets here, just showing it does not deal AoE, it is single target, but again, every single gadget press, 1095 damage. That's a lot of damage. I know this is probably going to be a crazy ranking, but I don't have the build in my hands right now. Can't test this, but just looking at how strong it is right now and some of the builds we already have in this game, some of the gadget timers, I almost want to already put this in S tier because of the amount of possibilities with our gadgets, with the rings that are going to reduce the cooldown even further, with, again, I've mentioned it several times, with the Singularity that's going to reduce that even more. I think this has potential to deal insane damage. And last but not least, for our passives, we have the Pocket Airbag. Every 10 seconds, gain a shield that prevents any damage, stun, or pushback for the next hit that you take. So hopping into the actual gameplay here, you can see we are running around with the shield on our character, running into the poison, and we do start taking damage. As soon as that pops, the 10-second timer activates, and we do have to wait for that, but it is a passive, so it's automatic. So as you can see, that shield is coming back. But it does block just one shot. I think if that 10-second was a little slower, it'd be higher on my ranking list. But because it is a full 10 seconds, I think I am going to have to put this on a high B tier list, maybe above the Cactus, maybe a low A depending on the circumstances. But I think a high B tier is justified for this because, again, 10 seconds is a really long time. If they reduce this, it'll definitely go up on my tier list as of right now. But only blocking one hit is not, in my opinion, is not justifiable enough. I think there's other passives on this list and in the game that outshine the jacket, but I definitely think it is a solid passive. And the last things to go over are the two new elite modules coming in Chapter 2. First of all, we have the Speed Kill. As you can see from the description, if you or your pets deal the finishing blow to an enemy, get a short movement speed boost. And as you can see, hopping into this replay, we are killing some drogs, and our character has those blue sparkly lines. We do have that visual display, but we are running a little faster. It does wear off, and we are moving back at our regular speed. But once we kill a drog, we are moving slightly quicker. So this is going to be good for those like open world farming builds. But the movement speed does not last very long, and it's not an incredible boost to your movement speed. But as far as placing it in the actual tier list, I hate to do this to a new unit coming to the game or a new elite module, but I am going to throw this in the D tier. I just think both of the other elite modules are better, both the one we have in the game and the other one coming. And speaking of the other new one coming, the other one is the Healing Ride, and this elite module is goated. As you can see by the description, constantly heal yourself while on your ride. So as you can see by the gameplay, we are going to run over to the poison dummy here, take a little bit of damage. Once we hop off and mount our ride though, take a look at just how quickly our HP starts coming back up. Like, this module is without a doubt the module that every player should be running. Gaining HP just from running away from the fight, especially since you have the protective shield from the passive and the protective shield from the gadget if you choose to run both of those, and both of those would prevent you from taking hits and allow you to get on your mount even quicker, even if there are mobs around you. So I think that thought, in combination with maybe being able to potentially boost the healing even more, brings this to an S tier elite module for me. The fact that you could be in the middle of a fight, dash away, not take damage for a few seconds, and then just be healing, potentially not running any other heals in your build. You could save it for your damage output, but as long as you can get on your mount. Like, this seems insane to me. Save the best for last, but there's the info on the 2 new elite modules coming to the game as well. But ladies and gentlemen, this is my official tier list of every single weapon, gadget, passive, and elite module coming to the game inside of Chapter 2. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Are you excited about these coming? What do you think of my ranking? Do you think they're going to be better or worse? We're going to have to wait till we get our hands on them, but this is my initial thoughts and feedback. Curious to hear your thoughts as well, but that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications for tomorrow's video. Hint, hint, wink, wink, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.